Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Start time. We know what we gotta do. Stay in the fight between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
Fight to the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in Victor Lane.
Green flag is in the air. Driving with conviction. Side by side, hammer down. The interjection will count out anybody. Who wants it the most?
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his guts out. Wheel to wheels, they come to the line. Victory this will be.
Nobody wants it more than you.
Next flag is going to end it.
Does he have enough?
A dominant performance.
You're gonna say no, baby. Let's go!
Can you believe what you are seeing? Everybody pushing as hard as they can get it. One final shot.
Gotta earn this thing. Run here to the end.
It is all on the table.
A total 500.
Start your engines!
This is my moment now. I will be number one. They said this is how it's gonna be done. Set fire. Gonna end the game. Set fire. Gonna make a name. Set fire. Oh, you'll remember this. I'm not gonna miss, 'cause I deserve this.
And welcome in, race fans, to another beautiful Saturday evening here for the National Stock Car iRacing Series from EchoPark Speedway this week. After missing last week, we are excited to be back, and well, things just about to get underway here for tonight's race. Drivers currently wrapping up here for the time being, and we'll get ourselves underway in just a moment. Welcome in, folks. I'm Oscar Jensen with Turn Sector Media here tonight, bringing you the coverage from EchoPark Speedway. Saw Joseph Smith last week get the win. I unfortunately didn't get a replay here, so we can't really have any highlights from that race, but Smith did get the win, which we've seen Joseph Smith be able to have such a successful season so far this year and continuing to put on a dominating performance. Tonight, though, all eyes are focused on EchoPark Speedway as we begin to finish up the regular season. Let's go ahead and go over the starting grid here for you folks. Landon Burbridge getting the pole. Christopher Stange will be to his outside. In row number 2, we have John Tiller and Joseph Smith. Row number 3, we head back to Dallas Stewart and Xavier Rugglebrugge. Row number 4, we have Michael Badra and Kenneth Lowry. Right behind them in row number 5, we go to Cody Blackmore and Ryan Haller. Row number 6, Jonathan Kravick, I believe, and Dylan Carrier. Row number 7, Brian Underwood and Jordan Hand. Then right behind him in the final row will be Joshua Kreider and Nathan Brookover rounding out the field. That'll be 16 cars that'll take the green flag here tonight. Landon Burbridge putting down a heck of a lap here to get the pole. He'll lead us off here as we roll off of pit road right now. Let's go ahead and go over our race analysis real quick as well. 130 laps on tonight's race, 197 miles. Stage 1 going to be 65 laps. Then the final stage also going to be another 65 laps, so an even split right down the middle. Pit road speed, 45 miles an hour. 5 sets of tires in total for these drivers, and then super speedways, these guys get 1 fast repair, so they will have that fast repair in their pocket. If they get into early trouble or late trouble, they can at least bank off of having a second chance, but you don't want to use that second chance up too early in this race here tonight. Let's go ahead and take a look at our weather display as well real quick. Temperature outside 83 degrees. Winds to the north of 8 miles an hour. It's going to be a little bit windy for these guys as they enter turns. I believe it would be 3 and 4. I could be wrong. Partly cloudy out as well. Then track temp 109. So it's going to be a little bit slippery and slidey. You see a lot of sun out there, so not a lot of cloud cover. Even though it is saying partly cloudy, we'll have to watch out and see if that cloud cover continues to close in on these guys during the race tonight. Pace car off of 4. Field in the hand of Landon Burbridge. Rolling into the restart zone, green flag in the air. We're off and racing from EchoPark Speedway. A clean start for the first lap for Christopher Stange. Landon Burbridge loses the top spot for just a moment. He'll have to slide in line for a second on that inside lane for the time being. He's got the 31 of Joseph Smith who's outside. A little bit of a wobble there as they entered one, as Xavier Rugglebrugge all over the back bumper of Smith as they head down the back straightaway. Stange right now pulling about a car length gap over the field, controlling both these lanes. He's going to lead the first couple of laps as they come around to lap 3. Burbridge with a decent run there into 1 and 2, works high, not able to make it stick. He'll have to fall back in and get another run built up as they head down the back straightaway. Right on board with Joseph Smith here as they come off of turn 4, and caution out on the racetrack. We'll have to see who it's for. I'm not quite sure who it is for exactly, to be exact with you, if I'm going to be honest with you. We'll have to look back and take a look and see what exactly caused the caution here, because I'm not quite positive what exactly brought this caution out here. Either way, an early caution here early in this race. It's going to allow these drivers to kind of restack up again, and I'm sure this will be a quick one, as it doesn't look like there's actually any sort of real major incidents out on the racetrack right now. And yeah, I can't exactly figure out what brought out the first caution here, so I don't exactly really know where to look at for this. Either way, though, the caution early on, again, going to allow these guys to kind of reset and stack them up again. And, you know, this is a good opportunity to also talk about kind of the flip-flopping the schedule this week. It was supposed to be, I believe, VIR, Virginia International Raceway, I believe, is a correct full name of that track. But there was some difficulties with getting the setup for that track out in time to these drivers, and, well, they elected to switch the 2 weeks around. So this week is going to be the second to last race in the regular season here at EchoPark Speedway. It was originally going to be the regular season finale, but those two tracks flip-flopped. So it's going to be interesting, as, you know, this is probably what some of these guys were counting on and hoping for to, you know, put themselves in a championship hunt position. And you can still do that here tonight. You just also got to keep in mind, there is, instead of this being the regular or the last race, you have one more race after to tonight, which could, you know, it is a road course, so it is going to be a little bit difficult probably for some of these drivers that are looking out, trying to get in. But tonight could be a great night for some of these drivers who need to make something happen here late in this season. And right now, I mean, we see Landon Burbage, Christopher Stange battling it out front. It is also going to be a Dash for Cash race as well, so there is some drivers who paid a little bit of an entry fee and are going to be racing for a jackpot here tonight, which I didn't quite get a look at the numbers, but I think there's a decent amount of this field who elected to enter that as well. So going for a lot on the line here tonight. The last Dash for Cash race we saw was at Talladega a handful of weeks ago, which ended up with two different winners. Obviously, those were two different races, but two different winners either way. And, well, someone's looking to cash themselves out here tonight and also gain some much-needed points as well. Field gonna whirl here in the turns 3 and 4. Then we'll get the green flag back out and these guys back under racing. Stange, Burbage losing that top spot after that original start. He'll have to start on the outside, but he's got Joseph Smith in the 31 behind him to help. Pace cars off, rolling into the restart zone. Green flag once again. Stange with a good jump. Burbage also with a great start on the outside. Stange is going to be clear as they head into turns 1 and 2 for the time being. What will this outside roll be able to do? Landon Burbage, will he be able to get hooked up with Joseph Smith there and get a good run down the back straightaway? They don't have help behind, so it might be a little bit difficult, but here they come on the top side with a good head of steam. Tiller and Stange, teammates on the bottom side, teammates on the top side. That lap, Stange is going to be able to maintain both those lanes side by side for second. Top lane not having the help that they need right now. 4 cars on the bottom compared to 2. Now that outside lane kind of not as formed, and Landon Burbage tried to get down in front of the 35 of Kenneth Lowry, but wasn't able to quite clear. Now he's going to have to be back up in that high side as they roll down the back straightaway. Should be clear here, though. Will he take it? Doesn't look like it, so he's going to remain on that top side for now. And a big wiggle right there out of the two of Landon Burbage. Great save to hang on to it. Lost the front end of that, though, and it could have been disastrous for that 2 car. And as they headed into turns 1 and 2 there, it looked like a lot of these drivers kind of rolled themselves into that bottom lane. Landon Burbage got left out to dry after being in second on that restart a few laps ago. He's found himself back to the 8th position. So teammates at the front side for the time being. They've got Xavier Rugglebrugge, who has moved himself into that 3rd position on the bottom. Dallas Stewart right behind now. Xavier taking a look to the inside, to the outside. Maybe a little bit of a bobble there as well. You saw that car kind of do a little bit of a bobble. Was able to maintain inside the throttle and get that 2nd position away. He's got the 38 of Stewart behind him with a great run here as they go through 3 and 4. Will it be enough down this front straightaway to make a move? I'm not quite sure. Tries to take a look to the outside. He's there. Xavier Rugglebrugge now going for the race lead on the outside in 1 and 2. Side by side. Staines trying to side draft on that inside lane. Both those lanes even as they come down the back straightaway. Neither one of them able to get an out. Contact made. Around goes Staines and collects the field. The big one here at EchoPark Speedway. Caution number 2 on the night involves multiple cars after contact between Christopher Staines and Xavier Rugglebrugge. Joseph Smith involved. A pile up here in 3 and 4. Landon Burbage with some front end damage here on this 2 car. Some right front and some left rear. From this camera shot, it looks like it is somewhat significant, but shouldn't be anything that could take him out of this race. He'll just need to spend some extended time on pit road. We'll see how some of these other drivers look as well. Joseph Smith there, you see right rear damage on that right side of that Mustang. Rugglebrugge, after getting squeezed into that outside wall, you can see the amount of damage here on this car. So a decent amount of cars getting here in this incident. Probably going to have some drivers spend some extra time on pit road. Other drivers, I don't think anybody really needs to use a fast repair here, but let's go ahead and take a look at it. So as they came down through the backstretch, we'll rewind a little bit and see if we can get a better look here. So side drafting up at the front, and then contact ultimately sent those guys into each other, and around they went here in 3 and 4. See a hard lick there. I think that's the 35 or the 27 of John Tiller on the bottom there with that heavy front end damage. Well, we might have to go back a little bit further than that. Let's see if we can. Yeah, and a lot of these guys back here able to get it slowed down and not be involved, but unfortunately up at the front involved a numerous amount of drivers, at least 5 of our top 5 drivers getting involved. A hard lick there from the 27 of John Tiller. Landon Burbage getting right in the mix of that as well. Or we saw his, that's where he got his damage from, just nowhere for Landon to go. See if maybe we can go back a little bit further then. Right on board with Landon Burbage here. Happened right in front of him. Really nowhere for him to go. Saw a hole, tried to avoid and go through it, and then those holes get closed up and gets tagged from behind and gets right into the middle of it. We'll try this, a restart once more again here. 16 laps down. Dylan Carrier, Joshua Kreider now going to make up the front row. Carrier elects the outside. Green flag back in the air. A great start by that front row. Top 3 have kind of pulled away from the guys behind them as they roll through 1 and 2. Everybody trying to get up to speed. Some of these guys a little bit further back might be carrying a little bit more damage that could be slowing them down, and they might just want to ride a bit, not having to use that one fast repair that they do have. Again, we have a stage at the end of lap 65, so they will, as long as they can stay on the lead lap, they should be able to come back down at their main out there, you know, without getting into any more trouble. They should be able to maybe take that fresh repair if they want, or just save it to the end of this thing and have it in the back of their pocket. But as we work off of 2, Xavier Weltenbrugge shoots out to the high side with the race lead. He's got Landon Burbage behind him, who was just involved in that wreck. Smith as well right behind him. Dylan Carrier continuing to work that inside lane. Doesn't have the help that he needs right now from behind. Now Carey going to be alone all on that inside lane, has no help. He's looking to get up in line, unfortunately has not been able to do so, and now it looks like he will if he wants to get up into that outside lane. Continues to run the bottom though, and a big slide in front. Smith in the wall gets collected, and around goes Joseph Smith on the front straightaway, and a hard hit there from drivers behind. Was that the 37? I can't quite tell who that was. I think it was the 35 of Kenneth Lowry who came in there and had that big massive hit on that driver's side, or at least that front side of Joseph Smith. You see the damage here to the 31 of Smith. This is what we call turtling it around the track, and well, it's going to be a long ways around for Smith here. So Smith working his way around, trying to get to pit row to get some of this damage fixed. Trying to figure out who was also involved in that. Looks like the aid of Nathan Brookover was also involved. He got a piece of it there at the very end. That's going to need to be a fast repair, as it looks like that's going to be pretty heavy, significant front end damage. I think that motor's also blown. So if he doesn't have a fast repair, this night could be over for Nathan Brookover, but it looks like he does have one. So he's going to come use that fast repair early in this race. Probably didn't want to use it quite yet, but he does have that little backup to use. Let's go ahead, though, and take a quick look at this incident. So we saw the 14 of Jonathan Kravark, I believe, slide. Oh, sorry, he wasn't even a part of this. Let's see what happened with him. Oh, I think he was trying to avoid that. I was going to say, we for sure saw him go for a spin. Obviously, I know Joseph Smith went for a slide, and I think he got a little bit of help there from, I believe that was Joshua Kreider, who tried to slide up in front of him. We'll see the first initial accident, then we'll go back and take a look at that 14. So a slide up here in front of Smith, I'm not sure. It doesn't look like there's any contact. Might have just taken the front end away, then went for a spin and kept it locked down, but unfortunately came right back into the path of two of these drivers. Nathan Brookover, and I believe that was Kenneth Lowry in the 35. So we'll go see if we can take a look at Lowry here. So he's kind of just riding way back here, and we'll start to see Smith go around here, right there, and right back into the traffic, and a vicious hit there on the back end. And that completely destroys the 35 and not able to make it around. Fortunately, had to tow it back around, and trying to get my mouse to work here, folks. Sorry, I guess it died. Then we can go take a look at the other one. All right, I think I got it. There we go. All right, we'll take a look at the 14. Jonathan Kravark. Actually, no, we won't. We have to go back live, unfortunately. So we'll get that. Well, we'll see if we can take another look at that later. Green flag back in the air. Xavier Rugglebrugge leading this group into 1 and 2 on the restart. Bad time for the mouse to die, apparently. Landon Burbage trying to work his way back up towards the front, up to third. Was right there and almost could have been in a bad situation again, as that wreck happened right around him. Right now, able to stay out of trouble, and Joshua Kreider looking to the top side of Rugglebrugge. Oh, a big wiggle there as they head into 1 and 2 into the outside wall, able to hang on to it. He's going to lose multiple positions. Great job, though, to hang on to it after getting a little bit of a bump there from Brian Underwood as they headed into turns 1 and 2, pushed him up the track. Got that back end all loose and squiggly, but able to hang on to it. Some more contact made there at the front between Burbage and Underwood. Those two beating and banging down the front straightaway. Ruggle Bruggy putting a block on Underwood for the time being, up at the front, able to keep that race lead intact. Underwood had to get off the throttle, loses a bit of momentum. That's going to allow Burbage up to that second position now. Burbage trying to get his first win on this season. Couldn't come here tonight at EchoPark Speedway. Right now he's in position with where he needs to be. We've seen the speed out of this 2-car throughout this race after getting collected in that first incident, or that first big wreck a couple laps ago. Could this be his night? Field going to work around behind Xavier Ruggelbergy, who continues to lead the charge at the front, controlling both these lanes. Burbage right behind takes a look to the inside. Not able to put that run together though. However, he'll be able to pretty much control the lanes just with Xavier. Those two probably going to follow each other and maybe stay in line for the time being, considering they've got a pretty large gap and have been working pretty good together so far. We'll see though if Burbage continues to be patient or if maybe he wants to get out front and lead some of these laps. Stewart with a decent run there into one, takes a look to the inside of Dylan Carrier. Carrier gets a little bit tight, has to get out the gas, and that's going to allow Stewart to hop up in front of him. And now Stewart going to work on Landon Burbage and Xavier Ruggelbruggy. Aggressive moves out of the 38 here early on in this run, trying to make it stick by himself on the bottom, just doesn't have the help from behind. And you need the help on these straightaways to keep momentum built up. Right now, he just does not have that. You have Kreider behind him. It is showing the 5, but he is the one in the race. Oh, some contact, I believe, between Smith again and Kreider. I'm not sure if Smith got actually any contact or maybe he just lost the front end. Either way, though, had a moment there in 3. And now Stewart alone on that bottom lane. Ryan Haller coming into the picture right behind him in that bright yellow machine. We'll see what Ryan can do. Ryan's had some bad luck this season, just trying to put together some of these races and maybe find himself in position at the end of this race to put himself maybe in victory lane. Again, we've just seen some bad luck out of this 19 so far this season and has had a glimpse of it. Time being as Kreider has another moment there coming off of 2. Had to check up. A great job by these guys behind to not run into him, but that could have been dangerous. This handling on this 1 car, Joshua Kreider, does not seem to be having a good effect on him, and definitely going to need to get that checked out here, and whether that's not having, the proper amount of fuel in, or maybe having 2 tires or whatever it may be, definitely probably not a comfortable feeling for that 1 car of Kreider. Ryan working the inside, a big checkup there on that top side. That's going to allow Ryan to get a decent run into 1 and 2. He'll be even with Burbage. Moving into the top 5 here. Coming up on the 29, I have Christopher Stange, who was out front and right now in jeopardy of going a lap down. We'll see how the field decides to work around him. Right now, though, he's holding pretty decent speed, and I think could potentially, I wouldn't say be a factor, but I would also say probably not going to be an easy one to put a lap down, or another lap down, excuse me. Wants to remain at least one lap down. So difficult once you go down 2 laps at any given track. So he's going to try his absolute hardest to stay 1 lap down, and that's really allowed these 2 guys behind him to get side by side as Burbage takes a look for the race lead. Burbage has Ryan Haller behind him, and Joseph Smith right behind him as well. So 3 decent cars on that inside lane. They're just not as hooked together right now as that outside line. The outside lane a little bit closer together and also has a little bit more cars to work with. Doesn't mean too much though. One checkup in this bottom lane could definitely come right back into the picture as you see Stewart take a look to the inside of Stange. That's going to cause Rugglebruggy to get stuck behind that 29, and if Stewart can work his way around, he will be the race leader. And as they come off of 4, he's going to remain side by side, so this is going to hurt Stewart quite a bit. You look behind him, he doesn't have any help. You really got to side draft as best you can if you're Stewart. You need to be able to keep that 5 and that 54 as close to you as you possibly can. We have already seen one incident though where side drafting has caused a wreck, so you also got to be mindful and you got to be careful of where your car is. And at this sort of racetrack where this entry is so unique and you're not full throttle to be exact, you're lifting off through, oh, Kreider, big slide there, another big moment through 1 and 2. You're off the throttle for a bit on entry to get the car turned, and also maybe needing to burp it a bit through the center. Oh, Kreider, another big moment. Smith says, I'm going to get away from that. I've already seen what has happened before. So he pulls to the bottom side to get away from Kreider there. And I mentioned Joshua's handling just not being what he needs it to be right now, and a few big slides there. And he's gotten himself outside of the pack here. They're 3 wide for second with the lap car of Christopher Stange. Carrier got into the wall just a bit. Loses that spot to Stewart. Burbage now wants a piece of it as well as he works to the inside. Stange just trying to remain in striking distance of getting at least one of those 2 laps that he's gone down back. We saw speed out of him earlier, but he's going to need to bank on a few cautions and a few lucky breaks if he wants to get back into this thing. Sword, Carrier, side by side. Oh, another big moment there from Kreider in the back. Kreider, issues continuing to just get worse and worse. A big slide as he came off of 2 there down the back straightaway. Dylan Carrier able to clear Stewart for the race lead. Now, Dylan Carrier, who won at Talladega in our last Dash for Cash, looking to get another Dash for Cash to win. Right now at the point, able to take control over the rest of the field. Landon Burbage right behind, trying to make up some ground as well. Getting passed by Ryan, or Ryan able to hang on to that position for the time being. And a wiggle out of Dillon there down the front straightaway allows these guys back up to the back bumper. Stewart, big slide there in 1 and 2, able to keep it under control. Oh, Carrier, another slide there off of 2. Lots of handling issues going on right now for these drivers. That back end sliding off the exit of these corners, even down the front straightaway. Definitely not a comfortable feeling. Dallas Stewart right now, though, looking strong, looking like he has that car sort of figured out. Burbage, oh, Stewart, some sort of issue. I'm not quite sure what happened to the 38 here. Dallas Stewart has issues. He's down below the apron. Not quite sure what's going on with the 38. See if we can find some sort of communication on what happened to that 38 right there after being out in the front there as they headed into 1 and 2. Then I'm not positive. Maybe it sounds like it's still under power, so I'm not quite sure what exactly happened to Dallas right there. Either way, though, that's going to allow Brian Underwood to now take the race lead away. Landon Burbage moves up to second. With that, Xavier Rugglebrugge in third. Burbage taking a look to the inside for the race lead. He's got the momentum. He's got the grip. Will he be able to keep it straight off the exit like we've seen drivers struggle? Yes, he will. So Burbage to the point. He's got Xavier Rugglebrugge behind him. Will Burbage be able to maintain the race lead until the stage break? His car looks pretty hooked up for the time being, but he's got Rugglebrugge with a good run now. Taking a look to the inside, these two really have been one, or at least nose to tail throughout this whole race so far. And now they're battling it out for the top spot. Continuing to race it out for the race lead. Burbage now has Dylan Carrier behind him. Brian Underwood right now running in that top side, potentially looking to hop back behind Xavier Rugglebrugge. We'll see which lane he decides to go to, and here comes Joseph Smith back into the picture. Smith having that vicious hard hit on the front straightaway after going for a slide off of 4 after some contact between him and the 1. We're not surprised by Joseph Smith, though, being able to work himself back up through the field. We've seen it time and time again. Smith becoming what would be probably another championship season in the making. Xavier Rugglebrugge trying to keep that 31 at bay with Landon Burbage on that top side. The lap's winding down as well before we see that first stage. These drivers know it as well. The aggression, the amount of moves that you're going to need to make if you want to come out with maximum points. You know you've got to do it right now, and your time, if you're up at the front, is going to be in these next couple laps. You saw Dylan go to a move to the inside there. Wasn't able to make it stick, and that's allowed Joseph Smith to hop right up in third. Ryan with a bit of a moment there in 3. And how about these guys racing for every position from 1st to 5th to 7th and 8th. Oh, a bit of a wiggle there out of Dylan, and he's going to hang on to it, but that's going to allow Rugglebruggy to suck back up to the back bumper. Right up against that wall for Xavier, maybe even getting into it just a bit. Xavier using all the racetrack on corner entry to get as much of a run as he can down the back straightaway. Burbage continuing to lead and control both these lanes for the time being. He's got 10 laps to go to the end of the first stage. Remember, that is at lap 65. So as these guys, they know it. They're starting to be a little bit more aggressive, trying to get a little bit more greedy. You see a lot of these drivers start to slide around. Dylan just had a moment there when trying to get back on the throttle. Burbage and Smith, these two drivers though, those guys up at the front, I mean, they've looked like they've got a control on these race cars, maybe saving a bit more tire and not being as aggressive as some of these guys were earlier in this run. Oh, and just as they say that, Smith goes for a slide there in 1 and 2, hangs on to it. He's going to get below the apron, but loses all that track position. And now that's going to move Landon Burbage with a bigger lead as they come rolling off of 4, which is probably going to hurt him a bit because these guys behind him are going to be able to probably use the draft and have a decent run as they catch back up to him. But that does allow Burbage to kind of have a little bit of a breather for a second. Dallas Stewart in the 38 there on the top side, going down the lap. And I wasn't able to quite figure out what exactly happened to the 38 after entering turn 1, and I'm assuming it had to have been some sort of power issue, considering it really didn't look like anything over the top happened. It just kind of looked like it potentially shut off, and unfortunately, right now, 1 lap down. Had to come down pit road as well, I believe, to maybe get some fuel and top off. So I think the majority of these guys should be good to the end, but that is going to be something that we have to watch out for as well. Oh, Christopher Stange, you're right behind. Right now, he's running behind our race leader, Landon Burbage, trying to work himself back up to get around our race leader, Landon Burbage, to get that lap back, or at least one of those lap back. Right now, still being scored 2 laps down. He's trying to do his absolute best to get at least one of those back so he can dig himself out of that hole. Now, Landon Burbage not going to have enough, so he'll have to work his way down on the pit road. It's going to be a unique pit road. You have to work yourself on the apron of turns 3 and 4. And then pit road cone or entry cone is right here. So you got to be at pit road speed there. You do have to be a little bit slower on the apron, but pit road speed for sure, which is 45 miles an hour right at the yellow cone. And as he works himself on the pit road, you don't want to overshoot. You don't want to put yourself in any, any sort of troubles here before the end of this first stage, which is going to be in just a couple of laps. Smith now going to take over the race lead. So the question is, do Joseph Smith and Ryan Holler have enough fuel saved in those race cars to make it around last pitted 42 laps ago? Ryan needs to be able to make it around one more lap. He can do it though. Jordan Hand in the 48 out in front of them. One lap down. Ryan's got a good run there in 1 and 2. Will he be able to make it work down the back straightaway? One last shot for Ryan to give Smith a challenge for the stage win as they go through turns 3 and 4. He's too far back, I believe. And as they come off of turn number 4, Joseph Smith is going to capture that stage win. So Joseph Smith collecting another stage win on the season. Able to hang on over Ryan Holler behind in second. Ryan so close, just didn't have the run or the help from anybody to really get that run built up on that 31 machine, and he's gonna have to settle for second. But either way, I mean, a second for this 19, definitely a good stage for him, and really what he needed with how this season has gone for him. It's just been not the season that he's wanted, but a good stage finish for this 19 could set him up for a good race finish. We'll have to see how this 19 does as Smith and Holler work themselves on a pit road after being able to make it around. That is also going to trap a lot of these guys a lap down, so only 4 cars remained on the lead lap there when the caution was thrown. Smith, Holler, Carrier, and Brookover, those 4 cars. Everybody else is either 1 lap or 2 laps down, so that's really going to be good for these top 4 drivers when they come off of pit road and make their pit stop. I apologize there for some internet issues. I'm not quite sure what is going on here and why my connection is dropping a bit. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on here. We'll try and figure it out before we get back to green flag racing. All right, I'm gonna hope that we are gonna be good till the checkered flag. Again, I apologize though for any sort of issues there. Hopefully they are fixed now though. So Smith and Ryan Holler are gonna lead the field back to green here. Nathan Brookover, Dylan Carrier in row number 2. And then you see the long tail of single file drivers behind that row 3 who took the wave around. Green flag back in the air. Smith, Holler. A great start by Joseph Smith on the inside lane. Ryan getting help from behind. He's going to take a look to the inside for the race lead. Smith tries to pull the block, but he saw that Ryan was there. Just Ryan not able to make it fully stick, and now going to get pressured out to the outside. Further back, I think we had a driver have a moment there. I think that was Brian. No, that was, I can't quite tell who that was there that went through the grass, but someone had a moment there off of 4. Christopher Staines back under, or back up front, racing for at least another lap. I guess he went down 3 laps or multiple laps there. Not quite sure what happened with him, but he went down another couple laps. So right now, really in a big hole, just trying to race for, I guess, every point, every position, and just trying to give these guys a challenge up towards the front. I remember the issues from Joshua Kreider in that first stage, having a handful with that race car. A lot of slipping and sliding we saw out of that one car. We'll see if that team was able to figure out anything under that caution there and maybe make some adjustments driving style-wise. It is a fixed setup, so you can't really make any adjustments, but if you can make a driver adjustment here or there, it could potentially help you out. As Smith gets shuffled 3 wide in the middle, back to right now a 4th, maybe even losing that position, and that's allowed Joshua Kreider to put himself in the race lead. Dylan Carrier right there taking a look to the inside for the race lead as well. Those 2 cars in front, Jordan Hand and Christopher Staines, not racing on the lead lap, but are racing each other, I believe. Or sorry, Jordan Hand is on the lead lap, but he is trying to stay. He is trying to remain from going lap down, and Staines is still 2 laps down currently. So Staines trying to remain with where he wants to be in position if he does get a few lucky breaks or a caution of some sort. And Burbage continuing to have a great night. He's got himself in that outside lane in 2nd, working around the 54. He's got Ruggle Bruggy behind. Kreider out front for the time being. We'll see how he can handle that clean air. A little bit of a bobble and a wiggle there. That's going to allow the 54 to come back up to the inside lane. Maybe get a run and a look to the inside. He is there. Dylan Carrier going for the race lead as they head into 1 and 2. Will he be able to clear the momentum and wash himself up in front? He looks for a second to do it, and yes, he will. And oh, Kreider, little bit of a bobble there off exit, able to hang on to it though. You don't want to continue to slide those rear tires around low. We saw him have a big couple of moments there in stage 1, and I think that's really what caused this one car to be so loose. That's not going to stop him for the time being, though, as he takes a look to the inside now to get that race lead back. Will he be clear? He will for the time being. Will he take it? Yes, he will. So Kreider back up to the top spot for the time being. These guys behind him trying to work themselves out. Ryan working himself back into this mix as well. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a quick little break here. You guys won't miss this thing. We're going to be side-by-side commercial free for it. You guys are watching the National Stock Car iRacing Series live from EchoPark Speedway. We'll be right back with you.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Got a great car, great team. We'll execute. Our time. We know what we gotta do. Stay in the fight between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
We'll fight to the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in victory lane.
Green flag is in the air. Driving with conviction. Side by side, hammer down. The after-checks are lit. Count out anybody. Who wants it the most?
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his guts out. Wheel to wheels, they come to the line. What a victory this will be.
Nobody wants it more than you.
Next flag has been ended.
Does he have enough?
A dominant performance.
Gonna say no, baby. Let's go.
Can you believe what you are seeing? Everybody pushing as hard as they can get it. One final shot.
Gotta earn this thing. Right here to the end.
It is all on the table.
A total 500.
Drivers, start your engines!
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to EchoPark Speedway here for the National Stock Car iRacing Series, presented by NJBDesigns.com. We paint champions. Visit NJBDesigns.com for more information. They do paint schemes. We saw a little commercial or ad from them at the very end of that side-by-side break. They got a lot of paint teams here in this field tonight, so make sure to go check them out for your next iRacing paint scheme. 87 working on to 88 here in just a moment. Dylan Carrier out front, controlling the race. Joshua Kreider back to second. Xavier Rogelbrugge might have gotten in the wall there just a bit off of turn 2. Right now, though, that doesn't seem to really affect him as he takes a look to the inside for second. They still got Jordan Hand and Christopher Stange out in front of them, which has been either helpful or hurtful depending on where you're trying to move around and where you're trying to go. Definitely allows that leader to kind of get slowed up and checked up a bit, and which then allows second place to make a move. So if you're the race leader, you're probably not as content with them being in front of you. If you're second place, you kind of love it because it allows you to take a little bit of an easier look to the inside of our race leader or to the outside, depending on where you want to go. Now, unfortunately, with them side by side, it's going to stall these two lanes out just a bit, and a big bobble there from Stange in 3 and 4. A good close call there as they're able to get around him. Dylan Carrier did a great job at realizing what was going to go on. Big moment there from 29 of Christopher Stange. And that's going to allow Xavier Rogelbrugge to get out in front. The 27 of John Tiller right behind in that little 3-car mix. Again, 2 of those drivers are a lap down. The only driver currently racing for this position is Xavier Rogelbrugge. Hand and Tiller a lap down. Carrier is going to follow on the bottom, and this really has those 2 to 3 lap cars that have been in this group have really played a big effect on how these race leaders are able to move around, and Xavier able to do a great job at moving past those 2 drivers. But just a lap ago, we saw Dylan Carrier have his own little close call with the 29, so definitely not being an easy sort of pass for the race leaders. We'll see what Jordan Hand decides to do. Takes a look to the inside right now, trying to battle to stay on this lead lap. Slides, just slid up right in front of Xavier. Contact with the wall. 3 wide, slides back up into Xavier. 4 wide for his second, I think. These lap cars being so aggressive to try and stay on the lead lap. Xavier, a big slide there in 1 and 2. Able to hang on to it completely sideways to the middle of turns 1 and 2. What a heck of a save. What a power move to keep in the throttle and keep that thing under control. These drivers know time is starting to run out. We have at least 1 more pit stop that these guys will have to do in about, I'd say, 20-ish laps, give or take. Which, if it stays green, that would be the only green flag pit stop that they would need to make. Now, obviously, if they get a caution, things would probably change a bit, as you would more than likely want to try and take a set of tires if you still do have them, as well as use any fast repair. And with the way things are going up at the front, some of these guys might have to use a fast repair. Burbage getting a little bit high there off of 2. Side by side for second, Dylan Carrier out in front has kind of checked himself out in front of the field here. he's got a pretty large gap. I'm not sure if that's just because of that bobble that we saw out of Xavier that kind of stacked these guys up, or if maybe these guys are trying to do a little bit of fuel saving. Either way, though, that's allowed Dylan to get out in front and stretch his lead to about half a second. Now, if they do get started out and they do start to figure it out, they will for sure be able to catch Dylan up in that top spot, as long as they aren't trying to just slow the pace down behind them, which, if you're Dylan, I mean, you kind of like being out in front. You're not dealing with all this chaos going on behind them right now between lead lap cars and lap down cars, but you also don't want to get too out in front because these guys can be able to run up and they will blow by you pretty quick. So it's 54 trying to manage the gap in the race lead for the time being, as old Kreider now having a slide himself there in turns 1 and 2, uses that wall to hang on to it. He's going to lose those positions though and goes from second to third, maybe even losing that third position. Xavier Oglebrugge, second driver out on the track. That's a 6 car. Brian Underwood 2 laps down, now 1 lap down with that move, I believe. But he's not racing for the race lead, just trying to get some of these laps back in. He pitted about 7 laps ago, so you can already see the tire difference and what it means. Him having those 7-lap old tires compared to these guys who have about 32, 33, 34. I think the highest is 37 or 38 lap tires, old tires. You can really see the grip difference between these drivers and what it is doing handling wise. And, you know, I'm sure these guys are probably going to want to pit sooner. My guess would be you'd obviously want to run it out as long as you can, but you might come down a little bit early to try and split this last little portion of the race down. You know, run maybe a 40 and 30, which, you know, if that's the case, or sorry, a 40 and a 20, or maybe even a 35 and a whatever it would be from there. I'm trying to play all the strategies out here. Again, we got 4 guys inside the top 7 who have been out here for 35 laps. Then the rest of them have been out here for 39 laps. So a little bit of a tire difference could open up maybe some of these guys coming down a bit earlier. I don't know. I mean, if my best guess would be you probably would want to come down in the next 10 laps to have the freshest laps that you can for those last 20, because you've seen after about 20 laps is when these guys really seem to start to struggle a bit more than they would typically at any other sort of super speedway. So these guys definitely going to have to think about their tire strategy and what they want to do with this upcoming green flag pit stop. We'll see which driver can make the right call, which team can execute the best coming on and off a pit road. Any mistakes at this point in time would eliminate your race completely. The stage 1 over. We saw Joseph Smith collect another stage win at 65. So Smith right now in 6th, a little bit further back, not having things go his way after this stage, but he did collect that first stage win. He'll need a little bit of extra help to go for this race win. Dylan Carrier trying to get a second Super Speedway win on this season. Last win in at Talladega, so he knows how to do it here at a Super Speedway track. And then Xavier Oglebrugge right behind him. He knows how to win. He's got multiple wins on the season, and he's right in position. He's been in second a lot of the times this season. and been able to make a great move to get the race win at the very end. Will he be able to do it tonight? A lot of things still can unfold here with what will be coming up on 25 laps to go. Dallas Stewart with a bit of a moment there in 1 and 2. Not quite sure if he got a little bit of help or if maybe that car just came from underneath him. Either way, he slid up the track and just barely got into the outside wall, was able to maintain it and hang on to it, but a big slide there off of 2, and right now currently being scored in 14th, 4 laps down. Not having his the night that he would probably want or need. The 2 leaders out in front, Carrier and Rugglebrugge, going to work around the 37 of Michael Badra. The 6 of Brian Underwood still currently out in front of them. He is 2 laps down, so I would say not really helping or hurting these 2 drivers in front, because those 2 are able to get a little bit of a toe off of him, as we see our 2 race leaders now working their way onto pit road. Landon Burbage right there in shot as well. He'll be the 3rd place driver to come down pit road, and we expected them to come down fairly shortly, and well, we see our 2 leaders work their way onto pit road. A little bit of slide there from Dylan Carrier and Xavier Rugglebrugge. Don't know if that was... I think they should be good of any penalties. I think they're already committed inside that cone, but they'll have to go back and take a look at that for sure. Dylan gets into his box. Xavier as well gets into his box. Landon Burbage now working his way into the box after starting on the pole. He'll have that number 1 box. Smith gonna have that race lead. He's gonna stay out, and he's gonna be a lonely driver out there right now. Nobody around him. Everybody else who was on the lead lap with him has already come down pit road. The 19 of Ryan Haller right there coming out of frame off the pit road. Landon Burbage as well. So right now what Smith is hoping for is just to maybe trap a lot of these guys a lap down like we saw earlier with an earlier caution, and maybe get a lucky caution that could help him out. I do expect the 31 to be able to go at least another 7-ish laps, I would say. I don't know if he can go any further than that. We'll see if he decides to run it out or not. Doesn't look like it, so now Joseph Smith going to slow it down to get onto the apron here before entering pit road. Oh, a little bit of a slide there. You can see him just sliding it around that corner there, trying to carry as much speed as he possibly can. And right here, as he gets to the pit entry line, slows it down. Again, no help though. He was about, I think, 8 to 9 seconds. Somebody can probably correct me on that, before these guys did come on to pit road, so he was not really in that mix for the race lead. We'll see if he decides to do any strategy though as he comes to a stop in his box. Looks like they're going to get right sides on, work themselves over to the left side. So the 31 going to do left sides as well. So 4 tires in total and fuel. That'll give the race lead back to Xavier Rugglebrugge. and Dylan Carrier losing the race lead on that cycle of green flag pit stops. Joshua Kreider now finding himself in second, so Dylan losing not one but 2 positions. Jordan Hand right in the mix as well. He could be a factor into helping maybe one of these drivers get the race win if he elects to continue to stay where he's at. The top 3 all within striking distance of one another. Jordan Hand right there in the mix as well. Hand been trying to put himself back in contention to be on the lead lap in case something does happen. Oh, a little bit of a bobble there off of 4 after he cleared Xavier. So Hand, this has been the battle between himself and the race leaders. Gets back onto the lead lap by racing his way back on it. However, he's going to be bringing a big draft behind him, and Dylan's going to take advantage of it, and now Joshua Kreider as well. So Xavier gets shuffled back to 3rd. Dylan up to the point. Kreider in 2nd. Laps to go this time by. Right now, 1, 2, and 3, nose to tail. End of the field being Jordan Hand right now out in front of them. Then 4th and 5th, Lennon Bravich and Ryan Haller back here. They should, if this thing goes green, they will each be able to come out of here with a top 5 finish, which after a great night from both these drivers, Burbage being out in front for a bit, Ryan being right there collecting 2nd for the stage points. I mean, these two could as long as this thing goes green, they could have some good luck finally going their way, and we'll have to see how things round out here. Oh, and Dylan, a caution, just as they say that, they crashed for 2nd. Kreider and Dylan Carrier go around. Heavy front end damage to both those drivers. Dylan had to tow. Kreider has some, he's trying to make it back around the pit road, but he's got heavy significant front end damage. So I'm going to put that one on me. I know we haven't seen the replay, but I did say that Ryan and Burbage were going to get a good finish there, and if it stayed green, and unfortunately a caution here with 13 laps to go, that's going to change the name of this race. Let's take a look at this one and see what happened with these top 2 leaders. So it happened somewhere between the exit of 2 and the entry of 3. Oh, it looks like maybe a little bit of kiss to Jordan Hand from Dylan. And, oh, yeah, that's just, I'm not quite sure if Jordan really could have done anything. I mean, it looks like he just got, I don't know. I mean, that's so difficult. Definitely some contact between the 54 and the 48. Unfortunately, just a hard, vicious hit for both Dylan and Joshua into that inside lane. Have to go back a little bit further and see. Yeah, definitely some. This is gonna be a hard hit right here. Definitely got over, or at least out of line with the 48's back bumper, which ultimately moved the 48 of Jordan Hand around and tried to hang on to it, but unfortunately, Hand just not able to keep it collected and collected Dylan and Joshua. Sent those two down into that inside wall with some pretty vicious hits, and I believe both those nights are going to be done unless Kreider had a fast repair. We'd have to look here. So let's see if either one of those drivers, I believe Hand is done with the night. We'll see what Dylan's night. Dylan's still sitting on pit road, I believe, here. Yeah, Dylan's sitting on pit road. Kreider is on the track. So Kreider still had his fast repair. Like we talked about, these drivers having one fast repair that they have to their use. He was able to keep it until now, and he'll be able to use it and get back out on track. Dylan, though, right now sitting on pit road, still 3 laps down. It'll probably be the end of his night for that 54 after having such good of a second half of this race. Unfortunately, going to come up a bit short here tonight. All right, I'm not quite sure what's going on with my iRacing here. Hopefully we can get it all sorted out here. Yes, we will. That's interesting. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but either way, we're set for the restart zone. Coming through the front straightaway, green flag in the air. Let's go up, back racing here. 9 laps to go from EchoPark Speedway. Ruggle, Bruggy, Burbage leading the way. Ryan finding himself in third, with help from Joseph Smith behind. 7 cars on the lead lap. Side by side for the race lead, Xavier side drafting Landon as best he can, pulling Landon and Burbage back through the entry of 3 and 4, and here comes Kreider back into the picture, 3 wide for the race lead as they head into 1. Will they be able to make it a stick? Yes, they will. Kreider with good momentum there on the bottom side, able to clear Xavier for the top spot. A little bit further back, they have issues. Michael Badruck getting into that outside wall, able to get it onto the apron and out of the racing line, so no caution there. 7 laps to go this time by Xavier, trying to build up another run to get around the Kreider for the race lead. Burbage sitting right there in position to pounce. Ryan also looking to try and make a move for the race lead. Right now sitting on that outside line, 4th in line. Xavier gets a good run, peeks to the inside for the race lead. Kreider trying to crowd the slow car. Michael Badra might be in the way, able to get right out of the way though, pulls down just in time. As they head down the back straightaway, I think that kind of hurt Xavier just a bit. He had to drift up off the bottom and lost a little bit of momentum. Now Burbage contacted the back end of Kreider. What a save out of Kreider with our race leader. Contact behind between Haller and I believe that's Dallas Stewart. They hang on to it. 5 laps to go. Things are getting wild. Everybody trying to gain position as they head down the back straightaway a couple more times around. We've already seen the big one happen. Will there be another wreck here with under 5 laps to go? 4 laps to go this time by. Xavier Rogelbrugge to the point with help from Dylan Carrier behind. They slide up. Side by side for the race lead. Xavier on the bottom. Kreider on the top. Landon is right there in third, waiting in the wings for a mistake to happen. Burbage now moves himself into second in that top lane. Xavier now under fire from Dylan Carrier. Carrier not on the race lead, but still trying to gain everything that he can. Burbage now with the run. Will he try and take a look to the inside? Yes, he will. Kreider tries to clear, or tries to hold him down. Burbage tries to clear. Dylan to the back bumper, the 2 car down the back straightaway. He's got help. Side by side. These guys will see 2 laps to go this time by. Xavier trying to lay back a little bit, maybe trying to build a run up. Landon Burbage continuing to hold strong on that inside lane. 2 laps to go this time by. Oh, Kreider trying to side draft using all that track that he can. They're going to work down the back stretch, and this time by, they will see the white flag in hand. Kreider able to get clear there. Xavier Rogelbrugge, Landon Burbage trying to figure it out for a second. White flag in the air this time by. 1 lap to go from EchoPark Speedway. The battle is on for the top spot. Will either one of these drivers be able to get around Kreider for the race lead? These 2 remain side by side for second. Burbage trying to side draft. Xavier takes a look to the outside. He's there. He's there. Xavier to the outside as they work through 3 and 4. He has to side draft. Coming up for turn number 4. Here comes Landon Burbage. 3 wide for the race lead. Coming to the start-finish line. Contact and Xavier Rogelbrugge, I believe, is going to cross the line in first after a 3 wide finish between him, Burbage, and Kreider. So Xavier Rogelbrugge able to get the race lead away at the very end with a move on the outside on the white flag. Puts himself here in victory lane, getting another win on the season here at EchoPark Speedway. Xavier parks it on the start-finish line. And he's going to jump out and celebrate with the crowd here, and we'll get him here in just a second. But wow, what a heck of a finish. Let's go back and see if we can take a look at it here. So the white flag lap as they came down the back straightaway, it looked for a second as if maybe time was going to be running out, and Xavier with a last-second move to the outside, able to get to the outside and pull the 1 car of Kreider back. Landon Burbage then took advantage and took it 3 wide on the inside lane as they crossed the start-finish line. We'll see if we can get a better angle of it here. I don't know which camera angle is actually going to be a good. Here we go. And as they came across the line 3 wide, beating and banging, trying to push each other around, it was Xavier Rogelbrugge on the top. being able to survive that move and came out with the victory. All right, let's get our race winner, Xavier, up in the booth here. Xavier, you were able to make a last move there in 3 and 4 and pull off the race win. How on earth did you make that work and then be able to make it stick on the front straightaway?
Oh my God! Honestly, I thought since they were so much lower on the track, they were gonna side draft me and just pull me back. But no, I don't know what just happened, man. That's probably one of the best wins I've ever had. I've never won like that. I think this is my first one at a Super Speedway 2 in a league. So, holy smokes! There's so much voice crack. There's so much going through my head right now. Oh my God! That is just wild. I just keep watching this finish over and over again. That is crazy.
Yeah, definitely crazy for sure, and definitely well earned as well. I mean, you were there for the majority of this race up towards the front. I mean, we saw a few things happen around you, which we're probably a few scary moments, but either way, you're able to make that move there, coming into 3 and out of 4, and hung on to it by just a couple of inches as they got together beneath you. And with one race left before we start our hunt for the championship, what does this really do momentum boost for you going into this chase?
Oh man, well, 3 in a row, 5 wins on the season. If I'm able to show up next Saturday, I'm actually not 100% sure if I'm actually going to be here for the regular season finale. But if I can make it 4 in a row, that would be like amazing. I mean, I think even though I lost Kentucky, ever since then I've been super motivated, and I've just been racking off the wins since that heartbreak in second place after leading over 100 laps at Kentucky. But man, yeah, I will admit, like, even though I'm pumped right now, I will admit the race was pretty annoying. I mean, getting wrecked early on before lap 5 was annoying, and then lap cars were also pretty annoying this race. But in the end, I led the most laps, I'm pretty sure. Came out with a 3 wide last lap pass. I mean, that is just, I'm gonna remember this for a long time.
Yeah, I definitely can't get much better than this, Xavier. And before I let you go celebrate some more here in Victory Lane, is there any shout-outs you'd like to give or any sponsors you'd like to thank?
Oh man, well, obviously shout out to Fish Speed, shout out to Chesapeake Racing, all my teammates that were here today. It was only 3 of us. We're a bit short right now. A lot of people are on vacation or just not here. So shout out to Landon Burbage and Joseph Smith. We all ran a pretty good race, even though we got collected in a couple things. Obviously shout out to all my friends and family, and yeah, shout out to my grandma especially. I'm sure she's pumped watching that. I hope she saw that finish, man. That was crazy. And yeah, 3 in a row. That's a feat right there.
Well, Xavier, I'm going to go ahead and let you celebrate some more here in Victory Lane after a heck of a win and a close finish, able to pull it off here. And hopefully we can see you next week for the season finale. If not, I look forward to seeing you start the hunt for this championship trophy when the chase begins.
Oh, yes, sir. See you then.
All right, that was a race winner, Xavier Roglobrugge, coming home and being able to capture the win with a last-ditch effort for the race win. Let's go ahead and get our second place driver. Oh, I don't know if I can. Oh boy, my mouse died again. Hold up. All right, there we go. Did I pull you up? Yes, it did. All right, Joshua Kreider, correct, or is it?
Yeah.
All right,
you got
Joshua, coming home in second, and it looked like your night was going pretty good for the majority of the race. It did look like you may have had a little bit more of a sort of slip and slide kind of feel to that race car as these laps kind of clicked on your race car. Was it more of something where it was just sort of this track, or was it maybe something like just track overall with how it handles, or is it more of like the track tempo? I mean, like what really was maybe the handling difference between you and Xavier for some of that night?
Well, Xavier he was playing defense and I was playing offense, and that's the difference. When you're throwing it in and you're the only one that's really being aggressive and really making the moves there. When somebody gets up on your bumper or gets close to you, it kicks you sideways. And the first stage I was really messing with the throttle, trying to figure out because I've never ran this car here before. I mean, I haven't ran this car in over a year, so just hopped in cold turkey. And so I had to figure that out. And then once I figured that out, I started adapting. And then at the end, man, I'm in a lose-lose situation there. I block the top, I get wrecked. I block the bottom, I get passed. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and we talk about this track, being so unique, and you mentioned, trying to play with the throttle. That's not something that you have to do at some of these other super speedways. Atlanta, such a unique design after the repave, and I'll be honest, the few times that I've raced here, I still have no idea how you correctly race this track and how you're supposed to, build runs and make moves. So this track, definitely a unique experience, and I believe this is the first race for you in this league. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was this just a one-off for you tonight, or do you plan on coming back here and finishing out the season with some of these guys?
This was a one-off. I appreciate the opportunity to run tonight. I had a really, really good time. And the race was a challenge, and that's what I want, right? I want a challenge, and if I could do things over again, I wouldn't change any way that I did them tonight. So, it's unfortunate that there were the wrecks that happened, and there weren't too many people that were fast, that were up front, that I think that could have had a pretty good run there at the end. But overall, I thought it was okay, and had a good time, and that's all that matters.
Alrighty, Joshua. Well, before I let you go here, is there any sponsors you'd like to thank or any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my teammates, Brian, Nathan, Jordan. I want to give a shout-out to my Uncle Lonnie at home. Thank you, Lonnie Kreider. Kirsten with Roland Wieners Foundation, admin box at Breast Cancer Awareness. I appreciate everybody who watches you at home and supports the broadcast. And I think that's all I got. I have a good night, and appreciate all you do.
All right, Joshua, I'm going to go ahead and let you go, and hopefully we can see you back sometime in this league. It was a blast watching you, and if not, then thanks for joining us tonight, and it was a pleasure having you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Oscar. Appreciate it.
All right, that was Joshua Kreider. I'm having some more internet issues or something. I'm not quite sure what's going on. So I'm hoping that we can at least finish out the round of interviews here. Let's go ahead and pull up our third place driver, Landon Burbage, who got a little bit of a piece of it there early on in an earlier wreck, but able to rebound to finish third after a strong running throughout the night. Is there really anything differently that you could have done there in 3 and 4 on that, coming to the start finish line? Or do you think that was maybe something where you just, you were kind of, you put yourself in that position and were hoping to come out with the best result as you possibly could?
Yeah, so I was what I was basically trying to do is set myself up for that last lap to be able to get on the high side and get momentum, but that unfortunately didn't work. But I was glad that Xavier was able to get a win out of that, and I was able to get a top 3 at least. But man, I was really hoping to get the win tonight. But didn't really go in my favor. But like I said, it was really good for Xavier to win. Really good for our team tonight. It's kind of a bad night for Joseph. He was able to recover a little bit though. So that's good for him. And yeah, the race was kind of just basically tire saving the whole time. The car would be very, very loose on the bottom after a few runs, so you kind of migrate up to the top, and that's where you had your momentum. But yeah, all in all, it was a good night for us. Just didn't execute like we anticipated.
Yeah, and from talking with you, I feel like almost every race these past couple of weeks, like the past month or so, definitely still, knocking on the door of getting your first win this season. But I mean, ultimately, you're just so close. You're right there. It's just you just need maybe a little bit better luck to go your way, and either way, I mean, it is still a good night, and when the chase begins, I mean, there's definitely a lot for you and this team to look forward to. I know that's going to be probably a little bit more of a challenge on yourself as the driver because of the pressure when going for a championship. But as you look to the chase, I mean, what do you feel like you can do when we start that?
Definitely, no doubt about. I can definitely go and fight for a championship. I'm championship contention for sure. It's just I gotta execute and stop being so unlucky, and just gotta focus on just being consistent. And yeah, I want to win a race obviously, but just consistency is the key when you got this type of format this year. So yeah, we'll just keep trying to be consistent and just yeah.
All right, Landon. Well, before I go ahead and let you go here, is there any sponsors you'd like to thank or any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Definitely Princess Talon. Always want to thank them. They're my #1 sponsor. I want to thank my fiance Lacey. I just got engaged this past weekend, so thank her for watching and supporting me all the time. And obviously my dad, my grandma, my grandpa, my mom, everybody who always watches me, and appreciate you for doing the broadcast.
Well, congrats.
And my team, I can't forget. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was gonna say congrats on the engagement, and I'm excited to see you and your adventure when this chase begins and what you can do for this final race coming up next week. Thanks for taking a minute to speak with us, Landon.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, that was Landon Burbage, and you can kind of hear a little bit of disappointment. Again, still trying to knock on the door of getting that first win this season. So close, but I do think, he did mention something, and that's consistency, and he's definitely been able to carry that consistency throughout this regular season. And if he's able to continue it through the chase and, put himself in the right positions week in and week out, I think we could see him in victory lane at least once or a handful of times before the end of the season, and maybe even put himself in that season finale and collecting that championship trophy at Homestead. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at this race finish one more time here, because what a heck of a finish it was. So you see Xavier up on the top side, building that big run, able to side draft the one of Kreider. Landon Burbage then taking a look to the inside, trying to make room for himself down there. Then ultimately the contact allowed between the two cars on the bottom allowed Xavier to just barely nudge out in front and not get side drafted, and coming home with the race win. Did a heck of a job at putting himself in the right position and making that move as they enter turns 3 and 4 to side draft those drivers on the bottom, and really ultimately put himself in that race winning position, and adds another win to the season here, and definitely becoming a championship threat. Not that he already wasn't one, but definitely more of a championship threat, and it's really turning out to be like Xavier could have a whole lot of something here when this chase starts in just a couple weeks' time. Let's go ahead and take a look at the full race results real quick. Xavier Rogelbrugge with the race win. Joshua Kreider second. Landon Burbage, who we just spoke to a few moments ago, in third. Smith rebounding for fourth. Ryan with a great top 5, finishing in 5th there. Great night for that 19 team. Cody Blackmore, Dylan Carrier, Dallas Stewart, John Tiller, Michael Badra rounding out the top 10. Going on through the rest of the field here, Christopher Staines, Brian Underwood, Jordan Hand, Nathan Brookover, Jonathan Kryvark, and then Kenneth Lowry running out the field. And I just want to say once again, thank you guys for tuning in here. Big shout out again to njbdesigns.com. We paint champions. Make sure you go check them out if you want an iRacing paint scheme. They have a lot of great paint schemes in the field, not only in this series, but a lot of other series you'll see them running as well. So make sure you check them out for your next paint scheme. With that, we're going to go ahead and end things out here. I got to be up early to head out tomorrow, and it's going to be an early flight for me. So I don't want to stay up too late as much as I want to continue the post-race coverage. I got to be up in about 6-7 hours, somewhere like that. So I'm going to go ahead and end things off here, and we will see you guys next week for the regular season finale at Virginia International Raceway. Until then, have a great rest of your night, guys, and we'll see you guys back here again next week.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Got a great car, great team. We'll execute. Our time. We know what we gotta do. Stay in the fight. Between the walls.
Time to turn the intensity up.
Fight to the end, no matter what happens. Good day to be in victory lane.
Green flag is in the air. Driving with conviction. Side by side, hammer down. The after-checks are lit. Count out anybody. Who wants it the most?
We are eyes on the leader now.
He is driving his guts out. Wheel to wheel.